talk about why music should be a second language class as an option instead of Spanish or French. So I'm a French horn player. I have played French horn for 6 years, and I'm currently also enrolled in the IB music class at North Star Charter School. In this IB music class, I had to do this assignment called the Musical Links Investigation. And in this assignment, I had to find 2 different pieces of music from 2 totally separate cultures and find 2 links between them that made them sound the same. One of the songs that I had was a Middle Eastern song. And in this song, the lyrics, when translated to English, were praising the Islamic God. And for the Middle Eastern people, it is a very happy song because of that message. However, to the Western ear, it sounded sad because of the musical elements. So I asked myself, why is there a difference in feeling between this song in 2 different cultures? And I think the way to answer that question is looking at music as though it is a language. So the first thing I would like to talk about is the similarities between a second language class and music. So when I start a new unit in my IB Spanish class, which is another IB class that I am enrolled in at North Star Charter School, the first thing that we do when we start a new unit is we receive a vocabulary list. And after we receive the vocabulary list, we run through it as a class. We practice the pronunciations and we work on translating it to English so we know its meaning. And we continually practice that to engrave it in our memory as much as possible. This is the same with a piece of music. You receive the piece of music to start out with, and then the run-through as a class is the sight reading. After that, you continually practice it, both in practice at home and in practice or rehearsal with the group, the musical group. So now I would like to talk about the differences. The differences between a second language and music are the message that they send. So with a second language class, you can send a message that is very simplistic. For example, I am going to the store, voy al mercado in Spanish. Whereas with music, you can communicate a more complex idea, which is emotion. And you can do this many ways. The one way that I'm going to talk about today is the playing style of notes. So one way to do it is called staccato, and the other way to do it is called legato. So here is a brief sample of both of them. The first one I am going to practice is the staccato. So that is staccato. They are separated notes, short separated notes, and they typically have a happier feel because they are bouncy and light. Now I'd like to give you guys a sample of legato. Legato is long and connected notes and is typically considered sad because it is slower and smoother and more lethargic. So this is why music is better than a typical second language class. You are able to communicate this complex idea of emotion instead of the simplistic idea of just saying, I am happy. And also, why music is better than a second language class. Music is better because it can communicate this complex idea in a universal language. So with typical second language classes, they are usually only useful in certain regions. For example, Italian would be useful in Italy and not really anywhere else. Whereas music is a universal language. If you put a piece of music in front of someone in America and put the same piece of music in front of someone in China, they would play the same piece of music. It would sound the same. Granted, there would be some variance depending on how they prefer to play, but it would still give off the same sound, like someone could tell that it was the same song. So this makes music more useful because you are able to communicate a complex idea in a universal language wherever you go, instead of a second language class. So tying this back into the Middle Eastern song, to answer that question that I asked, why is it different in 2 different places? So it's different in 2 different places, not because of the musical elements, but because of the message. In the Middle East, because it is praising an Islamic God, the Middle Eastern people can relate to it more and consider it happy, the Islamic Middle Eastern people. Whereas with the Western ear, recognizing just the musical elements, it sounds sad because it is a minor mode and it has that legato style that I talked about earlier. And this is why music is good as a second language, because you can communicate these complex ideas universally. Thank you.